Evan, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey Ben, it's Will in New York.
Will, thanks a lot, man. What's going on?
What's up, bro? I had like a whole different thing that I wanted to bring up with you in the middle, but at first, and I'm gonna go back to that because of your caller that was very. I thought she was red baiting. Call it whatever you want, but do you feel like these debates are gonna help or hurt Bernie Sanders, considering people like you or I might see it through a different lens than the majority of the population that's viewing these debates? Because there's a filter there for them, it seems like.
I think and this has been my argument from the beginning, right? You have to answer your question. I think they're going to hurt Bernie Sanders, not because of Bernie Sanders, but because America does not do nuance. America does not do what we just discussed, that bigger government is not a bad thing, or the fact that the government has grown in the past in certain areas and gotten smaller in areas that have been detrimental to the middle class. America doesn't do nuance. And so in that regard, if people take away from the debate, like my colleague seems like she took away that he's going to raise taxes and bigger government and he's a socialist, then and to me, that's going to hurt Bernie Sanders. But the problem about that is we can't just leave the conversation there. For me, it's a matter of should we have, no, that's not what I want to say. I want to say this. The fact that Hillary Clinton's campaign benefits off of us being myopic or obtuse and not dealing in any nuance, to me, should be indicative that she is not the candidate that we need. More simply put, anybody that benefits off of us not going into the details, not going into nuance, to me, that's not the type of leadership that we need. And it's time for America to grapple with something more than red meat talking points. But the short answer to your question, in a lot of ways, if that's what people take away from it, then I can see these hurting him. But go ahead. What was your other question? Point.
Yeah, no, I would tend to agree with you, and that's why I think it was getting lately the last couple TV appearances where you see both of them, it's just been like, okay, Bernie, fight back, fight, bring some heat. There's so much there that you could just bring that heat right to her and just open the whole can of worms on foreign policy. I mean, the Young Turks were talking about it tonight. He could have just said, you know what? Our foreign policy has been a disaster for the last 30 or 40 years. Of course, I'm not going to continue that. We're going to look for better ways to deal with this. But he just kind of,
you know what, man?
A lot more of the same. So
I saw that.
I agree with you. I think they're going to hurt him.
No, I saw that in the chat room, and I think America has this thing where if it's as so long as it's done, it's okay. Like, our foreign policy mistake in Iraq is done for all intents and purposes, except for the mess that we've left. But the actual act itself was done, mission accomplished. And so it's somehow experienced and it's okay. What's scary to America is the idea of doing something different. And so saying that the last 30 years of American foreign policy has been a failure, that doesn't calculate to Americans, because they don't look at Iraq and think of it as an abject failure, when in actuality, it is a complete embarrassing failure. But that's because we are very binary and very simple in America. And I'm not saying that to insult Americans. I'm saying that because by virtue of our leaders and our media and leaders in the media, they have benefited for so long off of us being very simple and not dealing in any nuances. So I don't think that argument in itself would work, only because how many Americans will really admit that they think the last 30 years of foreign policy has been a complete failure? The first thing I don't know. I don't know. We can unpack that for a while. Will, thanks so much for the call, man.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too. 857-600-0518. Again, I can't promise you that we'll be able to keep broadcasting because, when something happens once one night, it's bound to happen again. Murphy's Law. That's not Murphy's Law, but that's my interpretation of it right now. Tweet me at the BPD show. You could join the conversation. I don't think many Americans actually see that the last 30 years, not even longer, but are ever since we became adventurous in our foreign policies, we have done a disservice to ourselves as a nation But people still have jogged memories about Vietnam. Do you realize that there are still Americans who look at Vietnam and don't really admit that we lost that war? Because I think it's that misconception of American exceptionalism, that anything that we do, so long as it's done, is somehow okay. And we're not able to look through at the past with objective lenses and say, no, we screwed up Afghanistan. We screwed up Iraq, Iraq more than Afghanistan. We screwed up Vietnam. But we have people who really look back and think that those were, I don't want to say successes, but experience.